Iran didn't grant passage to a Chinese vessel. The bulk carrier Sun Prophet, owned and crewed by Chinese nationals, was forced to abruptly change course and turn back. Contrary to popular belief, Iran does not give blanket approval to the Chinese ships. It's very important here to highlight this last sentence in the post, where the Consulate General of Iran in Mumbai says, this is contrary to popular belief. Iran does not give blanket approval to Chinese ships. Remember, China is a very, very important, significant economic partner of Iran. And this is common belief that China is being allowed a free pass in the Strait of Hormuz. But this particular post says that there's no blanket approval given to even the Chinese ships. Let me go across to Srinjoy, my colleague, who's getting us more details. What should one make of this post?
Well, first of all, it's a Chinese ship, and the Chinese are very close to the Iranians. There's no problem there. But even if the Iranians allowed the ship to go through the Strait of Hormuz, what would happen after that? Because all Iranian ports are blockaded by the Americans. So the Chinese ship, would it be able to go past the American blockade? That was the question that needs to be asked. The other question, of course, during the middle of a war or a warlike situation, would a Chinese ship go into the Persian Gulf and not go to an Iranian port, but to a port of another country? That's the other question that needs to be asked. Where was the ship actually headed? And if it were going to an Iranian port, wouldn't it be a sticky situation in any case? Because even if the Iranians had let it through, then what happens when it encounters an American blockade?
Absolutely. Srinjoy, do stay on with us. You know, at the moment, there's utter confusion and chaos. One day the strait is open, the other day it gets completely shut. So there's no clarity. Every day and every single hour, the situation keeps changing as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned. Let's take a look at how things have evolved. So yesterday, the Strait of Hormuz was completely open. Who said that? It was Syed Abbas Araghchi, Iran's foreign minister. Then take a look at what happened. Just within hours, Donald Trump, the president of the United States of America, said U.S. naval blockade will remain in force. And this today, the IRGC has said Iran to tightly control Strait of Hormuz. So take a look at how the stand keeps changing. And this stand, of course, impacts the movement of ships in the Strait of Hormuz. And the situation there at the moment is very uncertain. That's what we can say. We have some breaking inputs coming in as well on the broadcast. Quickly shifting focus to that. Ahead of second round of negotiations, Iran has taken a firm stand on the nuclear program. The Iranian media has quoted their president Masoud Pezeshkian, who says US President Donald Trump has no justification to deprive Iran of its nuclear rights. Trump says Iran cannot make use of its nuclear rights, but doesn't say for what crime. So these are the questions that the Iranian authorities are now asking Donald Trump. He also goes on to ask, who is he, who is Donald Trump, to deprive a nation of its rights? Let me go back to Srinjoy, if he's still with us on the broadcast. A sticking point, the nuclear program. Iran once again making it absolutely clear that you cannot deny us this right. Who is Donald Trump to deprive Iran of its rights?
Undoubtedly, the point here is that all this is being said, threats and counter threats, before important talks. Now, wouldn't it be much easier for both sides if they stayed below radar and let the talks happen peacefully? Because then the chances of a negotiated settlement is much more than when Trump says something and then Pezeshkian counters him and then Trump counters him back and so on. That's the first thing. Secondly, let's not forget that during those talks in Geneva just before the war, the Iranians had more or less agreed, is what we are hearing, to at least curbing their nuclear program. Now, if that is so, then what was the war all about? So these are questions that are being raised now. So now it's important to concentrate on the second round of talks. But will these statements and counter statements, will it help the talks? Because the quieter you are before talks as sensitive as this one, chances are it will help things quite a bit.
Absolutely. But, what is Iran hinting at? Is Iran hinting that the logjam is going to continue? That, there'll be no breaking of the ice when it comes to both delegations coming back together on the table in round 2?
Is when Trump says that we are going to take away their nuclear weapons, then Iran has to say something. Iran will have to say that, no, we are a sovereign country, we can't give up our nuclear program. So these are things that have to be said when things are said. So once you have, threat and counter-threat, what it does, it paints a country into a corner. And that's precisely what has happened. If you have hardening of stance before your talks, then what kind of talks are you going to have?
Absolutely. But, the round 2 of talks, at the moment, of course, not stopping either Iran or US from making these statements. Srinjoy, do stay on with us. We have more breaking inputs coming in. And amid speculations over the second round of ceasefire talks, reports quote Iran's parliament speaker's statement. And according to him, progress had been made in negotiations with the US to end the war, noting that the two sides were still far from an agreement. So is there a breakthrough that we can expect soon as far as the West Asia conflict is concerned? That's, of course, the biggest question ahead of round 2. Iran and US still far from agreement. That's what Iran is saying at the moment. So even though everybody is looking forward to that second round of talks, this is what, according to reports, Iran's parliament speaker was quoted saying that both sides are far from an agreement. Srinjoy.
Yes. See, you look at it both ways. You say the first point is that there has been forward movement. That's something to be very happy about. But how much forward movement? In which areas? That's not very clear. And the fact that you're far away from a final solution, very good. But no one expects a complete solution very quickly. These are tricky issues. The point is, there are really two things that one can expect from the second round of talks. One, the fact that the ceasefire would be extended by a few days or a few weeks. That, again, would be a triumph in any case. Secondly, you would hope that at least there had been some agreement on some issue. Then both sides can go back and say, see, we've had some forward movement.
Absolutely. But, the bone of contention remains the same, whether it's round 1 of the talks or round 2 of the talks. Everybody, of course, is expecting that there's some breakthrough which happens, that the negotiations move in a positive direction. But it all boils down to Iran's assertion as far as nuclear rights are concerned and US denial.
Yes, of course. But then one has to see what kind of give and take there is, how this is worked out. If Iran does give up its nuclear weapon program or nuclear program, leave alone nuclear weapons program, what does it get in return? These are things that will have to be worked out, because at the end of the day, President Trump's favorite word or second favorite word after tariffs is deal. So what kind of deal comes through remains to be seen. That's
a very important point that you're making. What is US going to offer instead, and will that be acceptable to Iran? It all depends on that. Srinjoy, stay on with us. We have Mr. Ashok Sajjanhar joining us on the broadcast. Thank you very much for giving us your time. So how do you view the situation ahead of second round of talks? These statements that are coming in from Iran, questioning who is Donald Trump to deprive a nation of its nuclear rights.
Yeah, I think as far as the legal position is concerned, Iran is very strongly placed. Even as far as the strategic and political position is concerned, it is very strongly placed because it has much greater tolerance to bear pain than the United States has. And that is why we've seen that while there is keenness and interest on both sides that they should get an exit, that they should have an off-ramp, they should come to some sort of an agreement, and that is why Iran received Asim Munir also when he came with the message from Donald Trump. But still, I think there are some non-negotiable aspects, as we can see from Iran. And one of them is that at least as far as their rights under the NPT are concerned, the Nuclear Non-Proliferation non-proliferation treaty are concerned, they have certain rights. So they
Right.
don't want to give up those rights. They might sort of, give a commitment that, we give away those 440 kilograms or something. They might give a commitment that we are not going to enrich uranium for 5 years or something. But permanently, they don't want to give up that right.
Absolutely.
So I think they want to stand firm on some issue, but I feel that as far as the Strait of Hormuz is concerned, because they will have the whole world against Iran, because no other member of the world would agree that Iran should singly control the Strait of Hormuz or charge toll and make revenue out of it. So I think on that they will definitely going forward, they will change their position. But on the nuclear issue, they will play hardball and try to get the maximum that they can.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mr. Sajjanhar, former diplomat there, joining us on the broadcast, putting things into context. Ultimately, that's what the entire world is hoping for. Along with peace, that the Strait of Hormuz is open and there's a free passage for all. Srinjoy, do stay on with us. We have more breaking inputs lined up on the broadcast. Now, ahead of second round of talks, there are preparations currently underway in Pakistan. According to reports coming in, reports suggest that the preparations in Pakistan are for talks that could take place before the 24th of April, that is on Friday. Amid all that, we have more breaking inputs as well. Information on your screens about the warning that has come in from the Iran Supreme Leader for US and Israel. Iran says ready to inflict more damage. So tension spikes in the Strait of Hormuz. Multiple developments taking place. On one hand, of course, the countdown to round 2 of dialogue has begun. On the other hand, there are statements coming in from both Iran and United States of America in which Iran is questioning US's right of denying Iran its nuclear right. On the other hand, you've heard Donald Trump say it multiple times that Iran won't be allowed to enrich uranium anymore. And in fact, he also went on to claim that they would be handing over the nuclear dust to United States of America.
460 kilos of it, but it's somewhere deep inside because one of the reactors was bombed, and apparently this 460 kilos has gone many meters inside the ground. So how you're going to get it out, in what way, what is the levels of radioactivity is, nobody really knows. But it surely will require specialized help to get the material out. Then what happens with it remains to be seen. Is it going to be given to, let's say, the IAEA for at least the near future? These are things that both sides will have to work out.
Absolutely. And according to reports, the second round of talks will take place on Friday, that is the 24th of April. Srinjoy